In my earlier presentation, I have covered in detail what is ISO 9001-2015, what are the 10 clauses, and what are the benefits of implementing ISO 9001 in any organization. Also, I had covered in detail the Deming cycle, which is also called as Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. PDCA is such an important activity to do in any major project, including implementation of ISO 9001, that American Society for Quality advocates every manager should know and follow Plan, Do, Check, Act phases. Here, I am going to cover how ISO 9001 implementation can be done in a structured and simpler way by utilizing the Plan, Do, Check, Act approach. Hi, this is Jagdish Kumar doing this presentation. This presentation is very useful for those who want to implement ISO 9001 in their organization, or do substantial improvement and benefit their organization through ISO 9001, or who want to write global exams or attend interviews for quality positions in larger organizations. Now let us recap. Plan means you have the objective. How to achieve the objective, you write down the action steps. This becomes plan, and as you write down the plan, you cannot ignore risks and opportunities. Do, implement the plan in full. As you complete the do phase, you get the output. Now you check to see whether your output is good or bad. For example, whether you have successfully implemented ISO 9001 or not is check. If there is a gap or if there is scope for improvement, come out with more action plans to further improve. That becomes act. Now it is shown as a cycle here, PDCA, because an improvement action act also needs further plan to implement. Then plan has to be implemented, again improved output has to be checked, again further action plans have to become brought out, and this continues as a cycle. Now coming to plan activities in ISO 9001. The first thing the company is supposed to do is understand the context of the organization. Here, context of the organization means, in simpler words, know the business of the organization, know the major products and services, both current and future. Once you know your major products and services, you know who are the customers and interested parties related to those major products and services. Find out their needs and expectations, either from their historical requirements from your organization, as you see in the records, or by interviewing or having interactions with them. Having captured needs and expectations of interested parties, now you get a basket of internal and external issues, which is in short nothing but this SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat analysis, which is advocated in ISO 9001. And having understood this, now you can finalize the scope of the quality management system. For example, generally a company that does the design as well as manufacture will have all the clauses, 10 clauses of the ISO and subclauses relevant to them. So there is no exclusion for such companies. For example, there is a transport company, they can take exclusion for design. So this is decided as scope of the QMS, and after deciding the scope of the QMS, how we are going to execute all the process in your organization, you note down, you document. This becomes QMS process. Also, during your planned phase of implementation of ISO 9001, the commitment to quality should start from top management. First demonstration of commitment by management is a release of quality policy. A quality policy is not a routine piece of paper that is hung on the wall, decorated or whatever. It talks about customer focus, which is very vital for existence of an organization, prevention of defects, which is very critical, continual improvement, legal compliance, and ethical behavior, if you can add. This is the framework of quality policy. That is why it has to be personally signed by top management. And if quality policy is not existing in any organization, the ISO auditors consider that as a major non-conformance. I think now we understood the importance of quality policy. Also, it is responsibility of the top management to define roles and responsibilities for every level, every individual in the organizations, because once you have role clarity, it is easy for you to perform your activities, and as everybody performs the activities as per their respective roles and responsibilities, the organization's performance gets enhanced. It's also important in plan, as I mentioned, no plan is complete unless we address risks and opportunities. How do you address risks? You have to minimize through your approaches, and opportunities you have to maximize for the benefit realization for the organization. Setting quality objective is considered as part of the plan, because you set the quality objectives from your most painful areas, most loss-making areas, 2 or 5 of them in the beginning of the year, and you say within 1 year coming forward, we will reach from this level to the level which is your target. This becomes part of planning. What is the permanent in life is change. So ISO implementation plan should have all the room for accommodating changes or planning for changes to see that there is continual improvement in performance of the organization. Very important that organization cannot run without enough support, and that support has to be provided by top management, because support is not a small entity here. It comprises of providing all the resources for the organization, including people, infrastructure, machinery, working capital, and so on. Competencies of the people, very important. If competencies are not available, they have to be developed. Here competence is a combination of knowledge, skill, and your attitude. Without attitude, even if somebody has knowledge and skill, he may not be a great contributor to the organization. So having understood the competency, then awareness 7.3 here means awareness of your roles and responsibilities, awareness of importance of ISO 9001 certification, also awareness if that certification is withdrawn from you, what are the consequences to your organization. 7.4 communication is also part of plan. Communication has to be planned. Communication can be top down, bottom up, lateral. In communication, you should be very careful what to communicate, whom to communicate, where to communicate, why to communicate, and how to communicate. For example, formal communication should be written, informal communication can be verbal. This has to be planned. And processes which are required to create and control documented information has to be applied. Here, documented information is a combination of two entities. One is the document, which is our process sheet, engineering drawing, or whatever, which says how we are going to do the job, and record, where you note down your observations, and thereby record becomes the evidence that you have followed the document correctly. Here, please remember, two words are used in ISO. Maintain documented information. That is for a document which will have revisions also as times change. Whereas records are retained documented information to the period that is required as per company's policy or customer's requirement or a legal requirement. Now, having understood the plan content in ISO 9000 implementation, let us get into do phase of ISO 9001. Here we need to understand controls needed for the QMS operations. It is not enough if I have the process sheets written meticulously with all the process parameters like temperature, timeline and so on. It is important that they are followed meticulously without any shortcut. For example, if I have to bake the varnish at 120 degrees centigrade for 4 hours, it should be done at 120 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees for not rise the temperature further to 140 degrees within 1.5 hours varnish dries, then take it up. These shortcuts are dangerous and that is not the process control. Identify product or service requirements. This is very important. Who decides the requirements to be fulfilled by your product or service? Not you, your market, and you should deliver them. Otherwise you will not be in the business. Develop designs. This is very important. Design, it doesn't mean it is the responsibility of design department alone. Design department develops a design of products, whereas production people, marketing people or other service people develop processes, design processes to fulfill their requirements. So as we see now, every large company will have to compulsorily outsource more than its 80% of activities to subcontractors and vendors. In such a case, we cannot take the excuse that vendors did the mistake or subcontractors did the mistake. Only jobs can be delegated, responsibility is ours. In such a case, we need to have controls over the vendors or subcontractors' processes, products and services they deliver. It's important that we carry out the processes and thereby produce the product or service which fully meet the requirement of the customers or the market. And ensure control of process. Again and again it is ensure. Here emphasize that important to ensure control of processes so that the product and the service that comes out is acceptable. One more additional thing that is advocated in 8.5 and 8.6. Okay. As the product rolls out from the organization, there should be an authorized person who will cross-verify to see that the product is completely meeting the requirements, certified, then only it is shipped to the customer. This has two advantages. One, the organization confirms that it gives only good product to customer, and the customer also gets an assurance that it is doubly checked that the product meets the requirement before it reaches them. Then, as we do manufacturing or provide services, there will be deviations, non-conformities. These should be addressed with the full attention. If it is a product, quarantine or segregate the non-conforming lot, inspect them 100%. Good ones you can give for further production. Bad ones you may have to rework and then again inspect and give the item for further production. This is very important that non-conforming product should be separately tested, confirmed for conformance, then only it should be handed over for further. Do all the activities to create and provide products and services which meet the requirements of customers. This is the primary and most important requirement under do phase. Ensure all the products you make, all the services you make fulfill the requirements of the market, the customers. Now, having understood plan portion of ISO implementation, what are the do elements, major elements in ISO 9001? We will get into the third phase, that is check phase. What is check? As you plan, implement the plan through do phase, you get the output. Now you need to measure to see whether it is fulfilling the requirement or not. Ensure the quality management system which you have implemented as per ISO 9001 is functioning properly as planned and producing continual improvement as well as good products and services. How to check? Checking is done by monitoring. What is monitoring? It's a periodic activities to see that things are under control. How do you see things are under control or not periodically? By measurement. And as you measure, you do the analysis to see whether there is a major problem or not. If there is a problem, you come out with the improvement actions and then evaluate post improvement to see whether your improvement action is really giving the substantial improvement or not in the products or services to ensure that they meet the requirements of the market or the customer. Confirm the processes used are adequate. This is very important. When the processes are good, continuously year on year you produce the same consistent quality products and services. Finally, 9.1 here says customer satisfaction. If somebody asks what is the primary most important objective of ISO 9001, it is customer satisfaction. Improved customer satisfaction year on year. For check phase, internal audit is one of the tools where the employees of the same organization from another independent area come and audit for fulfillment of ISO 9000 requirements. Any number of non-conformances here will not result in withdrawal of the certificate. It can be used to further improve the quality management system of the organization. Management review is where top management sits together periodically, say once in 6 months. They review what are the pending points to be addressed, what are the external inputs which have to be addressed so that we can improve our quality management system, what are the resources to be provided like capital equipments, manpower and so on, what are the risks faced, how to minimize them, what are the opportunities available, how to maximize them and so on. That's why management review meeting happening periodically is a major requirement. If it does not happen, it is considered also as a major non-conformance. Review and assess all the monitor data. This is very, very important. Large companies have volumes and volumes of inspection data, performance data and so on, but nobody to monitor and analyze. This is one important area. If you do monitor and to analyze the data, you will find a lot of opportunities where you can improve and benefit the organization. Then make changes and plans to address the issues identified. How issues identified, you draw a cause and effect diagram, find all the causes for that issue, find the vital cause from their root cause, and then address the root cause through corrective actions. Now comes the last phase here, which is called as act phase. Perform the actions needed to address any issues found in the check. Check is to see whether you are having the target met or not. If not, what are the gaps and why those issues. You found out, now you come out with the action plans. This is A or act phase of PDCA, the last phase. Address inputs and complaints of external audit. This is very, very important that a good company is expected to reply to the complainant, maybe a customer or an external audit or a legal body, within 24 hours that they have received the complaint or the suggestion and they acknowledge that. Then have plans to find out the action steps. Then you need, of course, to plan to implement them, do them, then check, act. The PDCA continues as a cycle. This was very important. Any non-conformity should be addressed through corrective action. Corrective action is a permanent action so that the problem does not reoccur at all. Correction is a one-time fix like defect repair. If you do the defect repair, good product goes to customer, no doubt, but the same process which manufactured this part in the next lot produces the same defect. So we need corrective actions, not corrections. Eliminate the root causes is the way to come out with corrective actions. Continually improve the system, because improvement is a journey. If you do not improve, your competitor will improve better than you and he will occupy the market. And if you are the leader in the market, 40% of the market share is yours without crores and crores being spent on marketing expenditure. That is the philosophy. Do PDCA all over again. As I told you, do plan, you implement through do phase, you check the output, not meeting the requirement, you come out with action plans to improve. Now these action plans also require plan to implement. Then they are implemented through do phase. Then the output is further checked for at check phase to see how further improvement has happened. If not further improvement actions, PDCA goes as a cycle. In conclusion, I can say only through improvement a company can be competitive. Otherwise, you will be overtaken by your competitors. by using the PDA cycle as advocated by ISO, which is most important and highly recommended by American Society for Quality. Also, we improve the quality management systems and processes. And once you have the risks minimized, opportunities maximized, wastages eliminated, definitely you see the benefits in terms of savings in resources and the profitability for the organization. And with the improvement of the quality management system, improvement of the business is more certain. That is why globally companies go for ISO 9001 across 194 countries in the world. I take this opportunity once again to request you to subscribe to my Array Excellence Academy in YouTube. Subscription is free if you have not subscribed so far. Thank you so much for all.